Hello, how are you?
Great, how about you?
I'm good, thank you.
Well, at the moment, we feel privileged.
And why is that?
Well,
Oh, you're the only ones here. Well, well, I'm going to be.
yeah. In fact, even my friends didn't show up.
So, I'll take my mask off when I present. I'll just now.
Do you play?
Yes, I do.
Well, you'll be the judge of that.
So,
You interpreted us very well.
yeah.
We moved from Wisconsin to Michigan for my work, and we're empty nesting in the
Yeah.
process of that movie, and then had some college kids that were schooling at home with us for a while and expected COVID.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Now we're full empty nest.
Well, that's good. So, are you guys still working? Or are you retired or something?
I am currently working, but retiring July 1st, so looking forward to that.
Congratulations. What are you with the U?
No, I actually work with PricewaterhouseCoopers.
Oh, good.
So you may
Oh yeah, PwC. Yeah, I know PwC very, very well.
that's good, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So as far as I know, you guys haven't been indicted for anything like Anderson and Arthur Anderson, and who's the other one? Yeah. And PwC actually has, my field is leadership development, has a very good reputation because you do a lot of coaching and development of your younger associates, I know. And
I think we do a nice
Yeah.
job there. I had been a partner at Ernst & Young prior to
yeah,
PwC, and so and then again, I'm not putting down Ernst & Young at all.
you can put them down.
A very, they are very well done.
Yeah.
It's a good firm.
And you had a terrible tragedy where your head guy, the CEO stood up. What was it? A young, I want to say Bonjean, was killed in an accident. I mean, a shooting, police shooting.
I'm not sure what that is, so that's
Well, anyway, he came out and it was part of what happened in 2020, something like that.
okay. Well, no, I was with PwC then.
Yeah.
I don't know why it was because it wasn't. Must have been somebody like in a global practice. I must have missed that. It was somebody who said trans.
No, he's Haitian. He was Haitian, and he was a mistaken identity and shot by cops or something like that. Yeah.
Yes, Bo.
Yeah.
Yes, in Texas. Yeah. I know. Oh, yes.
Right. Right.
You're 100% correct on
Right.
that. Yeah, that was.
Yeah, I wish I would have made it up, but no, it's tragedy. So.
Yes, it was. Right. I want to say it was right after the George Floyd murder.
Yep.
It was in the
Yep.
very
It was in that same time frame. It was in that time frame.
I was just blanking, but yes, I know. Yeah, exactly what you're talking
All right.
about. So that was very sad.
The book I'm going to be talking about is in the back of the room, and I'm asking, and you are welcome to. I'm giving these away, so you're welcome to take a copy. So.
Read a lot of very nice things about you online.
Oh, thank you.
Obviously, very highly respected in terms of your leadership, expertise, and insights.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
How did you find out about this? Because I don't know how it was.
My wife Amy's the one who stays up on this. I didn't know anything about it, but how did you find out?
So I found out about it through the Ann Arbor Observer.
Oh, it was in there. Oh, great.
I always look at that to see who's
Ah.
speaking and something strikes my fancy.
Okay. Wonderful. Have-
I'm retired now, but
Oh, wonderful.
So I had worked for Children's Hospital of Wisconsin,
Mm-hmm.
and they always had different speakers come in to talk to us about not just work-related things, but the dealings with people, dealings with family, but really your coworkers. How
Yeah.
do you-
Oh, yeah.
How
Oh,
do
yeah.
you get all that together?
That's how I make a living.
It is a very complex thing.
So when did you retire from medicine?
So when we moved to Michigan, we moved in February of 2020. And
Whoa, right in the middle of
on
it.
retiring.
Yeah.
And at the time when I called up the
Take a book if you would like.
Mox not only said that they're not hiring right now, but they were furloughing some positions. So a lot of clinics were closed during COVID. So, and then life happens and you kind of get adjusted to not working.
I would have thought you would be in high demand because they were asking for. Yeah. Yeah. So, did you plan on working or did you want it?
I was planning on working.
Oh, so.
I think part of the issue was that there was a portion of that time where hospital systems were really struggling with the revenue base.
Significantly. Yep.
Being done,
Yep.
all this stuff.
Yep. Now you're. Yes. Right.
That was
Of course it was. I remember.
In the meantime, we've had these parent things that came up and a lot of other things that just became priorities.
Yeah.
So
So do you work in Ann Arbor or do you work virtually or what?
it's a good question. So we picked Ann Arbor back to the medical community and the fact that my clients were dispersed throughout Michigan. So Ann Arbor was as central as anything else. We went up to Dow Chemical, Whirlpool, Stryker. So those are the three companies
Right.
that work within Michigan.
Yeah.
We're the closest to Kenworth, Stryker.
Right.
Those companies. So that was kind of a combination of being in a nice medical community plus the fact that most of the time anyway I'm at my clients and then COVID does and
Yeah. Do you still visit clients face to face?
I do.
Oh,
I do.
okay.
But that probably, year and a half, 2 years, basically very little of that. And then, ended up getting a car on lease, had all these extra miles built into the lease, and I came so far.
Yeah,
All the
I'll
clients,
bet you.
I have all these clients.
There's a book in the back that you are welcome to take a copy if you would like. So.
None of that materialized. So I'm now doing some of that, but then, I decided to do that.
Okay. And what brings you here?
I didn't know they put a bunch of classes in the library. I didn't know they had like that much. So
Good. Okay. Good. Whatever. I mean, it's up to you. What do you think? I mean,
we could go get started and take it from there.
Yeah.
Or we could wait. It's up to you.
why don't we wait
another
a
5?
few minutes
Okay.
and then we'll do
Sure.
that.
Sounds good.
And thank you. So, yeah. So. And what brings you here? So.
So before COVID, I used to come to a lot of library events. So I was looking in the library page myself. Number 2, I think people are getting meaner. Or they have less of a filter. And number 3, I like book reading and going through readings.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, we're a little stressed. So. Yeah.
on my way here, I really saw a guy parking. So you know how like somebody's like yelling, like, are you parking?
Wow.
like a dog than a person.
Wow.
I don't know, how do you react to that?
The guy just walked away.
Yeah.
Like, he literally, like, it's like you say, like, no filter. Like, he literally,
That's an awkward moment.
Yeah.
misplaced. You don't know how to, like,
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of stress, people, some people are in the mindset, I have to get mine, even if it means taking away from you, so that scarcity mentality.
Yep.
There's a lot of grace needed.
Well, if Molly comes back, I'll just gonna. Well, there's many, but I would say grace is the catalyst for the greater good. So, and we define it, how we make it happen. It's generosity, it's respect, empathy, compassion, caring, courage, outwardly directed to bring people together, connect one-on-one, or as a leader, bringing people together for a better good, however we define that. Grace is given with no strings attached. So, Molly, we might as well start. And we do with it what we want, what we are so feeling to do. So go ahead. So,
Hi, everyone. Good evening. My name is Molly Bickley.
can everybody find a seat here?
I work at the Ann Arbor District Library. It's my pleasure to welcome you all to tonight's event. One of the beautiful things about the library is that all of our events are free and open to the public. If you're looking for more events in the future, we have a brochure. All of our events are listed on our website. And the other new thing that we're doing to increase access is we're also streaming our events to YouTube the most that we can to increase access during this time. So tonight we're really excited to have John Baldoni, speaker, author, executive coach. He has books in the back. His books, one of his titles is in our collection, and his latest book, Grace Notes, is being added to our circulating collection. We are so excited to have him here tonight. He's an internationally recognized keynote speaker, author of 16 books. He's also globally ranked top 10 executive and leadership coach, where he has worked with senior leaders in industries from the pharmaceutical to real estate, packaged goods, automobiles, finance, and health. This is one of our, unique events to bring here. So thank you so much, John.
Thank you, Molly. Well, I appreciate that. We'll keep this kind of informal, but what I thought I would do is I will think back. I want you to challenge to think of where you were in January of 2020. And I was thinking, I was going back on my notes, and I was thinking it's going to be a whole new decade, and it's the 20s. So I came up with a little piece. I have 2 grandchildren, and here's a little piece I call Crazy Legs. Then came the lockdown. So, we're in a whole new era. So what did we feel? And I'm going to read some sections from the book that resonate with me. I'm trying to capture how we felt back then. And it was fear, okay? We all feel fear from time to time, and good reason, mostly. And so that presents a peculiar challenge for those in positions of authority. How do they and we navigate the landscape of fear? Bottom line, don't show fear. You may feel it in your bones, but you don't show it. A leader's challenge: radiate calm, confidence. Doesn't come from arrogance, comes from the sense of caring for others. You want to be the go-to person for others, for your team, for your people. You need them to trust you. And that begins with radiating calmness about the situation. And maybe some hope things will work out. As a result, there's stress, lots of it. You talked about that. We were all feeling it. So how do we cope with stress? Okay? Well, one is a recognition that we're all experiencing something. We may outwardly show with a smile we're okay. Inside, we might be terribly torn up. So how do you reduce stress? Simple exercise. Breathe from the diaphragm, in and out with regularity. Breathe through your nose. Exhale out of your mouth. Lessen the stress that you're feeling. And it's okay, as you did, talk about stress. Get with your friends, colleagues. Share what you're sharing. Ask them what they are sharing. Maybe together you can come up with what works for you, what works for them. Acknowledge stress. Don't hide it. Resolve things can and will, we hope, get better. And if you feel you need to talk to a professional, please do. There's no sense in stigma to feeling stress or resultant anxiety. We cannot hide it. And there's lots of good people around to help. Share your stress. And you know, in times of stress, in times of lockdown, in times of isolation, it's easy to get lost, and it's easy to feel discouraged, okay? That's human, okay? But it shows that you've accepted reality. And it's okay to go to cry. It's okay to cry. So what can you do? Hey, go outside and yell at the wind if you want to. But eventually, got to cope with what is going on. And there's a beautiful Japanese saying that says, fall down 7 times, get up 8. Okay? Call that a way to fight discouragement, okay? That's a popular word when we are feeling anxious or anxiety. And we're feeling annoyed, okay? And we're not, maybe our annoyance, our discouragement is unfocused, like the gentleman you talked about who was barking instead of verbalizing, okay? That's a way to get it out. And so leaders, if you're in a leadership position, you need to address that stress, okay? A colleague of mine lives in London, Alex Lazarus, says, you have to meet people where they are. Understand where they're coming from, their needs. And that's that challenge. Take time. Listen. Double down on listening. Fierce listening, okay? Listen to that personal side. Discouragement. It's the enemy of any progress. It's the enemy of our future. Address it, okay? I'm going to take a little break and play a little bit of music. And here's one of my favorite pieces from, I'm Italian by heritage, and my father was an opera fan. And there's a few little arias I like to play. And this one is from from Turandot, which was Puccini's last opera. It's called Nessun Dorma. I'm sure you have heard the tune, and it means they're all sleeping, which in this case, they're all dead. So, but it's a poignant melody. Here's one more aria. O mio bambino caro, my dear daddy. Three reflective tunes, I think, capture a mood of when we're feeling anxious and troubled. And I find the reason title of the book is Grace Notes, which is a flourish in music. And music, as we know, connects us on a plane that words cannot. And I think poetry does that somewhat, but music has that way of piercing, gets to our core. And when we hear a melody that we have heard before, it brings us back to when we heard it. And I had, years ago, I was playing in a home for people with brain damage and stuff. And so I would go in there and play, and most of the time they liked me. There was one gentleman there who, sadly, every time I got there, he would become very hostile. And it wasn't personally, there was something in his wiring of his brain that turned him off to live music. And I don't think it was just me. So anyway, mostly. But you would see people go into reverie just because I would play a tune and it would bring them back to a childhood. And we know that is so much in us. And so, all right, as we navigate our way, so what do we look for? The word I think that we're using a lot of, and not just grace, but a form of grace, is kindness. And you know the phrase random acts of kindness. I have a preference for, let's call it, intended acts of kindness. That's where you develop a mindset, an outlook, where you can be of assistance, of help to others, a source of joy. Thinking this way, it's a kindness mindset, call it that way. You get out of your own skin. You think about others. Walk in the shoes of another, metaphorically, if only for a moment. It's other-directed. We're outside of our own heads. To be thinking of another is also ways of finding ways to deliver joy, something that puts a smile on their face. It's not a big thing. Doesn't have to be a big thing. An emoji text, a funny photograph, a joke you've heard, a happy story, a smile. These are acts of kindness, intended. And little things show that you care about others. You want that we're all fellow travelers in this world, and we can share what we can with others. Along with this sense of kindness is a word we hear a lot of, is empathy. So what is empathy? We need people to know that we care, okay? We call it empathy. Empathy is that ability to share another person's feelings, okay? And leaders need to demonstrate that concern, understand, hey, what are we going through? And especially, understand, this was written in a time of lockdowns, but when you have kids at home, elders at home, everything, there's a lot of tension, there's a lot of anxiety. People have other focused on other things, but just doing the work. And leaders in that position, you need to know where your people are coming from. As we said earlier, meet people where they are. Show concern for them. Listen to them. And that's where empathy comes in. Yeah. Good point. Okay, that's a good point. Okay, good point. One of the things, and flip side of that, it's easy to focus so much on the negative around us, but what are we looking for in life? Joy. And simple feeling of joy. It's that enriching experience. For me, I wrote a piece on this. Joy can be a jelly donut. And I have the waistline to prove it. It's a simple thing, okay? And so for leaders, it means to celebrate the simple things around us. How can we make things better for you? How can I feel you meet your needs? How can I do it with a spirit of openness, of happiness, okay? When we're feeling down, depressed, joy can be that leavening experience. It can raise us up. It can be just a smile, an acknowledgement that somebody else knows who I am, knows even my name, okay, and is willing to recognize them. So joy, and enriches how we feel about ourselves. You can say joy enriches our souls. So let me play a little piece of music I think that'll capture what I'm talking about when it comes to joy. This is one of my little favorite pieces. It's from, find the right page. Okay, Symphony Number 4 by Haydn, called Surprise. So you've heard it a lot of times, and I'll have a little fun with it, okay? Should put a smile on you, huh? Here's something. Let's also thinking about part of where we are now. We've had a time to reflect, and here's a piece by Schumann called Traumere. I'm probably mispronouncing it, but it's Daydream, and it's a tune that's quite well known, and I'll try to do it justice. And while we're in that reflective mood, I'll play something from Tchaikovsky called The Morning Prayer. It's a sweet little tune. So here we are. When times are stressful, what do we look for? Joy, of course. But I think when people are down, they we want inspiration. And they look for, so inspiration. The word comes from the Latin spiritus, which is vigor, soul, courage, breath. It also has a derivation in ecclesiastical Latin, which is what the Catholic Church uses, and that's spirare, which is to breathe in, to breathe out. I love that. To breathe in, to breathe out. And if we think about inspiration, it's both courage and a breathing in and a breathing out. The breathing in is we take it in. The breathing out is what we do with it. It's a kind of grace. Grace is that gift which is given to us. We take it in and we breathe it out, and maybe we show it to others. An intended act of kindness. We share what we have with others. And when we do it, it gives us courage, gives them courage. And we find strength in their example. And how they do it, what they do. And when we feel true inspiration, we become part of something that is greater than ourselves, which is what we're all looking for in a way. Inspiration, it's a fundamental concept, and I think we need it now more than others. It's more than just inspiration per se, because we have to believe in something. Okay, and that's when we're in a time of change, in a time of upheaval, we need our anchor, we need our purpose, and that. When change is all around us, we need something that holds us together. And that's our values, what we believe in, what holds us together, what gives us the sense of belonging, okay? What's important to us. We want to hang on to it. We want to be around other people who share our same values. And our values that hold us in times of stress will hold us and help us shape our new tomorrow as we go forward. Part of doing this, too, is this, which Grace teaches us, is generosity. That open sense of spirit, as we talked about spirit breathing in, breathing out. Generosity, I think, is the breathing out, okay? I'm sharing with you. It's a willingness to embrace others, to meet people, as we said before, where they are. Not where I expect them to be, not where I want them to be, but where they are. Okay, and to demonstrate that care for them, okay, and willingness to work with all of us together to share that, okay, and generous people give of themselves. We know them in our communities, okay, so that's it. So that kind of where I'm at with these kind of thoughts, and so I'll play a couple more pieces of music, and then maybe I'll take some questions from you. So I'll go with that. Here's a tune Louis Prima made famous called "At Sunday Kind of Love." Whenever I play it, I think of kind of a New York avenue, or excuse me, I'm in Central Park, and it's kind of got that feel to it. It's another one. It's by that same kind of genre. It's by Ned Washington, music by Victor Young. Stella by Starlight. One more in one of my very favorites. Again, lyrics by Ned Washington, but great composer, popular composer, Hoagy Carmichael, called "The Nearness of You." Thanks. So, I want to have a few closing thoughts and something about, you asked me a definition of grace earlier, and I think I'll lead into it with something part of the end of the book, and it's what we've gained from our experience of the lockdown, COVID, what we're going through now. And I think most of all, we've gained resilience. We learned that we were knocked down hard. We learned to get back up again. And we may be more vulnerable, more humble, certainly, and I hope more courageous, more alive. Resilience is our tool for reinvention. We've become transformed. The world we left behind is no more. It is not coming back. But what we need to create is a new normal, a normal that works for us, for all of us. We also gained, I think, a sense of self, of us and ourselves, who we are as a people, friends, colleagues, families, husbands, wives, brothers and sisters, in creating something new, something different. We do seem altered as a people. Living with a plague, that'll do it to you. Yeah, we saw vitriol. But we also saw lots of grace, much more. We saw neighbor helping neighbor, strangers helping strangers, communities reaching out to those in need. And there is hope holding us tight as we can. We feel it. We embrace it. We even hope for hope. Hope is like that. We hope for something better, to go outside and breathe deeply without fear, to mingle with others without fear, to congregate for worship, for prayer. We need hope. It sustains us all. And grace does that for us. Grace is that special gift, and it is what binds us. And I like to think of grace under pressure. Think of it as when you're feeling this pressure and you exert grace, we meet anger with composure, denigration with respect, sadness with compassion, scarcity with abundance, insults with smile, selfishness with selflessness, hoarding with generosity, life with gratitude. So that's my formal presentation, and thank you for patiently putting up with it. Anyone have any questions? I'm happy to discuss anything with you. Thank you.
So, I guess, how do you deal with the uncertainty? So, COVID is resurging, we don't know what it's going to do. So, how do you deal with the uncertainty?
Well, it's living with ambiguity and uncertainty. You do what you can do to protect yourself, of course, all those wise things. But focus on what you can control. I think where we get tangled up, I sometimes do, is when things are out of control. So what can I control? How can I square the circus? The circus, it is a circus. How can I square the circle? How can I be in charge of how I react? None of us can control events. We only control how we act, or how we react to them. And so I think part of this dealing with ambiguity is those in your community that you rely on. Talk about it, discuss it, but don't think about the worst that could happen, because it just might. But I think more importantly is to focus on what you can do. Can you do something for someone else? How do you protect yourself? What can you do? Look at the positive things step by step. Be sensible, but also be practical. That's the way, I think that's the way it is. Be as practical as you can. So, and if you need help, seek it. There's lots of people who out there willing to help. So I hope. Any other thoughts?
I know a lot of your focus is on leadership, and I'm curious to see how you've seen leadership shift and change pre and post-COVID.
It's a good question. I would answer it very positively. I think I saw a lot of leaders really jump into the fray and really take charge of the situation and really focus on their people. And gave of themselves a great deal and extended themselves. Now, there's a cost. Burnout is endemic. You know that from the medical field, of course. Physicians and frontline workers and nurses and aides and whomever. You guys have been stretched. Our healthcare community has been stretched to the breaking point and beyond. And now in these subsequent waves of COVID, our healthcare institutions are stressed once more, again and again and again. And so often these things are preventable, but yet they deal with it. Outside of the healthcare service too, that tension, that burnout is still there. So what does that mean for leaders? The good ones have persevered, and they do, but I think there's been a cost. And I see them thinking, what more is there? Do I still want to do what I'm doing? And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's rethinking my options. Is this all there is to life? Part of that's maybe middle age, whatever. but is there something else I could be doing? There's something else that Adam Grant talks about. He's a management leadership expert and brilliant author, professor at Harvard, at Wharton School, the business school, and at Penn. And he talks about, in his first book, Give and Take, about people who are maybe in the social service sector, how they avoid burnout. And what it is they don't become overly invested in outcomes. They know what they can do. And I think and they do their best and move in their own circle. Now, it's not the same in medicine because that's a whole different dynamic. But I think it gets back to control what you can control. Do your best. And understand, too, that you're a human being and you can only do so much in any circumstance. So, long, circuitous answer, I think leadership is in a good place, but I think a lot of people, everybody is under a lot of stress, and we see it, particularly people at the top of the house, or it's most evident. So. Any other questions? Yes.
I'm job hunting right now because I've worked in several different jobs with nonprofits and, even the government sector. I even work with the census. What I've seen is a lot of people who are leaders who, quite frankly, shouldn't be, is they don't lead with grace. They don't even lead. They're solely selfishly driven, quite frankly.
Right.
And I think you hit the nail on the head that they're solely interested in the outcome, but not for the sake of the outcome for other people, but for how it builds them up.
Oh, yeah.
It's falsely done. I would ask, how do you maintain grace in difficult times? Like, I like the way you address that. I'll give you an example. When I was with the census, now we're talking about, I hope I'm not stepping on anybody's toes politically here, but doing the census during a very troubled political time, not just that it was COVID, but it was COVID with when even going out to do the census was dangerous because there were so many people, especially in the areas where we were sent. A lot of us who lived here, they did not have us work in our local communities like they usually have people do. They sent us like in rural areas where you Confederate flags on people's lawns, where people would shoot them, where the police would block up. Where people would, come at you with a gun. And the thing is, you're trying to do a good job and explain why you're doing this. Not everybody was like this, but all of us got our fair share of that. How do you maintain that kind of grace, especially when you're not getting support from your leadership? Like my immediate supervisor was a wonderful woman who really stood by me, and one time when it got so dangerous, she said, "Okay, just go home. The rest of the day, I'll explain to the supervisor in Lansing." It was the people in Lansing, especially our supervisor for our area, who was just, it just didn't care.
No, I know, and I sadly I get the picture because I've heard this before, and I can give you a little. Yeah, no. I can give you. I will tell you a bit of semantics. When you describe the people, they're not leaders. They're bosses. They may refer to themselves as leaders, but they're not. They're bosses. They're self-interested or just not in people. And I agree with you. They shouldn't be in positions of authority, but unfortunately they are. So how do you show grace in times of hostility? You do the best you can, and you don't put yourself in danger. If somebody's, I don't think we can meet bullets by saying, "Hey, I'm a person of grace," So you just back off again, and I don't mean to be facetious, but again, it's find that. Everybody's not like that, and don't. I think the most important thing is to protect yourself, and what I mean by that, physically, obviously, but do not let that behavior erode your faith in yourself and in others. And that will keep you sane. Okay, it's easy to say that, but think about how you react to it. And we see it. We see moments of grace in times of great stress. We see it in wartime with going on in Ukraine and all of this. And every day there are stories of it. So think more positively. And I know that sounds like a cliche, but you can't let outside forces erode your own belief in humanity. You know, you can say, other people are jerks, but I'm not going to be that way. And if sometimes you lash out like I do regularly, say, okay, I'll do it. I have a little mantra. I developed it a few years ago, and I share it with my coaching clients, and it's called focus on better. And instead of a resolution about I will do X, Y, Z, I will focus on better. And you define what better means. A better colleague, a better spouse, a better friend, be there for others. And inherent to me in the idea of focusing on better is that there will be failure. You will not live up to what better means all the time. But if you say, hey, I'm going to do it the next time, and then you can keep on doing, and you will end up making things better, just if only for one other person, you know. And one of the most inspirational people I've ever met, and he just celebrated his Golden Jubilee as a Jesuit. And his name is Father Greg Boyle, and he lives in Los Angeles, and he founded the largest gang intervention program in the world. And what it's called is Homeboy Industries, basically giving jobs to ex-gang members, people nobody wanted. Now, why does a child, and basically many so are, why does a child go to a gang? A, he or she has no family. And what does the gang offer them? At its core, it offers community. And so when they leave a gang and try to get away from that, there has to be something else. And that's where Homeboy comes in. But Father G, as he's called, and he also has written 3 great books on this. Greg Boyle, if you're interested in the topic. His middle book, is, I Thought About You, called Barking at the Choir. So he works with a Latino community, and very often there's a kind of a patois, which is more Spanish than English, but and sometimes he brings homeboys out when he speaks, and one of them used that phrase about, let's bark at the choir. So he thought, that's cool. But anyway, it's creating community. How can I create community in my own world? Okay, how can we sense of belonging? And I have this theory and about how people connect with one another at work. And the good places of work are essentially communities. Now, it doesn't mean everybody likes everybody all the time, doesn't mean everybody thinks all alike, and they shouldn't, but that they are held together by a cause greater than themselves, whatever it is, the mission of the organization. I like to say this exists in healthcare. I hope it does. But it's this connectedness. And so a community is the sense that I belong. And if I belong, then I have a voice. And my voice is welcome. Doesn't mean people always want to hear from me. That doesn't mean they're going to accept my ideas. But at least I know I can have an open and honest conversation about things. So, and that's what's so lacking in so many organizations, just what you were describing. So, but I think if we control, we can control and deal with it that way. So I hope that helps. Yeah. Well, sadly, you see people like cops. You see people at their worst, and that's really hard. Bless you for doing that work. I couldn't do it. I'd last about an afternoon. So. Well, that's unfortunately too endemic of our time. So the only thing is you do what you can do, but you know.
Part of it, though, part of it is we need more staff, more nurses, more things. And part of it is, like, the people who are at the door. There's people at the door to say, do you have a fever? Do you have a cough? Do you have a sore throat? If so, please don't come in. You have to wear a mask. And those people are getting beat up. Even though there's a big sign saying these people are gonna ask you these questions, and you have to wear a mask in the hospital, when the doorkeeper stops somebody and say, I'm sorry, could you please wear a mask, you have a mask, they're getting beat up. They're getting assaulted.
You know, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I have a friend who, she did that job after retiring from her job here at U of M. She did that job at a U of M clinic in Brighton, where she lives. And, you know, after, like, the first couple of years of the pandemic, and this was, you know, like, even retired people, elderly people come in, just saying they're fed up with being asked that question, and she's like, look, this is just protocol, it's not what I do,
It's not
it's
you
just,
personally. It's
yeah,
just-
if I don't do this, then I can be fired, and I have to look out for the, I not only have to do my job, I have to look out for the safety of everybody, you know? And, after a couple of years, she was like, I'm getting a pension now, and I'm getting social security, I don't need this anymore.
You try to get help, but
Yeah.
at some point, your life isn't there.
Right, and sometimes, you're right, the administration, there's only so much they can do, but it's also sometimes, like, I was a crisis counselor at SOS in Atlanta for a while. And I loved the work. I mean, I even worked on the suicide hotline, you know? And I loved the work, so sometimes it can get very, very physically exhausting even, just on my way home, I would watch a horror film at grave just to feel better. And it
That's
helped.
good.
I used to joke.
That's a good
horror
line.
films really therapeutic.
Because you know how that's gonna end.
Well, and not only that, but it put things in perspective of what I was dealing with, like with helping people. But half my energy was spent with dealing with really ineffective administration, who just, they were there for the paycheck, they were there for, you know, the pension, they were there for the accolades, but they didn't have to deal with what the rest of us had to deal with on
You
a
run out of
face-to-face
ventilators, or you run out of ICU beds,
Right, right.
and people are in.
Like somebody comes in intoxicated and you don't know, they're getting very, very loud and violent, you don't know what to do.
I would like, this is such a complex topic, I would like us to thank John for being here tonight. Thank you so much, John.
I'm honored to be here. Thank you for being an attentive audience. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I hope you all have a good night.
Good.